I didn't know how many other people were going to be in my situation of first event. Obviously, no one knows what's coming up. But then I got to the event and I was like, I'm the only one here that like knows no one, doesn't know what's coming up. And I'm like, from the outside looking in, the groups, it's full of people playing a very big game. It's not a group of people that are achieving small things. So coming in not knowing anyone, as well as not knowing what was coming up, there was so many different questions coming through my head. The basic ones like, am I going to be fit enough? What are the people going to think of me? What am I going to think of them? Are they going to be my people? Like, there's so many different angles you can look at this. And, you know, leaving the event, I left in a completely different mood, different feeling. And that wasn't just because of achieving what was thrown at us, but it's that the challenge of just turning up and just meeting new people, going into the event. Like that almost felt like an achievement in itself. And from doing what I do in the background of this, I know that a lot of people that stops them from, making that first point of contact. Do you know what I mean? Whether that's reaching out, asking for a bit of help, wanting to get involved, like those nerves get in the way. And for me, going into the event, like I say, there was a lot of nerves. That's the best way I can describe it.
I've got to say, it took an awful lot for you to turn up to the event, knowing that we were sort of looking at the list of people coming along. You were on there, and I think a lot of people had said, "This guy's coming along to this event. Want to make him feel welcome because you haven't met anybody. You're
Yeah.
turning up to this unknown event." As you say, I think, and having this conversation is part of kind of addressing this. There is that risk of the online persona where you look at the Instagram for the pools and Crocs and you're like, oh my God, these guys are absolutely berserk. But actually, we're just normal guys. We're just normal guys. And so it's really interesting to hear that your perception had shifted over the course of the weekend. Where where do you think your headspace so I guess that's completely understandable, your headspace coming in. I think anybody would feel like that going into that situation with a group of guys that never met before. Where did you get to at the end of the weekend?
It's really funny, right? Because I left that weekend feeling like that was my like 10th event with the team.
Yeah.
Like I left the weekend being like, feeling like I'd known everyone for like years. Like it was really bloody strange. And I think that is the power of meeting people that are like-minded. And it was just wild, like the connections that you form and the bonds that were made, even, just through that 12 to 14 hours of training. But even with the support team, even with the support team that weren't supporting our team, do you know what I mean? You still feel like you know everyone more than a couple of hours, like considerably more. And like I think something that really came apparent quite early on, even before the event started, before the briefing had started, it sounds like I don't know what it sounds like, but it's obvious that it's like a really safe space. Everyone's just after, looking after each other.
Yeah.
From the mindset of move at the pace of the slowest team member, from the fact that you've got what 8 to 10 people just supporting 12 people, waking up at 1 in the morning just to make sure that they're taken care of. Find me another group like it. It's madness.
I think it's I think it's good that you've touched on that nerves point because I don't know if you knew this, but from our point of view, from our side, we knew you weren't the only one coming that was going to be coming to the event for the first time.
Yeah,
Nerves got to all the other people. They've obviously seen what you've just mentioned on the Instagram post, but you turning up showed your true character.
and showed that you can step out of your comfort zone. And now you found your group of people, which
Yeah.
many of the other blokes that were down to come, which it would have been their first event, would feel the same way, but they just didn't have that courage, if you will, to step out of the comfort zone and commit to something that they didn't know what they was going to be doing. But now, seeing this, when they look at this, they will see what you're saying and they'll think, oh, actually, it isn't just this. They do all this extreme shit. It's about the team. It's about coming together and supporting each other.
It's a funny one because I also think that there needs to be that set of nerves. There needs to be that hurdle that you need to jump over. You know, the team's full of absolute killers, like achieving wild, wild shit. And the only way that it works so well, from my perspective, my short time inside of the group, is because everyone's built the same. Everyone that's turned up to this event has turned up to the event, and therefore that's almost like a rite of passage to be inside of the group. And if you've not done what's needed, again, from my perspective, if you've not been prepared to do what's needed to turn up to the event, to be in the group, then, there's got to be a question mark next to your name as to whether you should be in the group in the first place. Because, like I say, the only way that everyone's got their backs so much is because everyone's the same. I don't know, that's just like something else that I picked up on. It's not a group of, yes, there's different personalities, but there almost isn't at the same time. Everyone's in it for the same goal, same reasons.
I think there's an element of part of the group's ethos is it's so there's a big mental health element to it, and part of the group's ethos is um, the group will absolutely be there to support you with whatever you need, whether that's fizz or other stuff as well. So just somebody to talk to, listen to your problems, whatever it might be, whatever's going on in your life. We're more than just a group of people that go out and do stuff in the hills and what have you. We're friends, and I think that a big part of why that works is because to be part of the group, you can will provide a lot of help, but you have to be willing to help yourself. I
Mhm.
think that's critical. People are willing to turn up and show up for themselves. Everybody else will show up for them as well.
Yeah, what's that saying? You can lead a horse to water. You know what I mean? You can tell them about the event, you can tell them about the group, but you can only help so much. You've got to be able to help yourself. And I was in a position where I was like, I was doing loads of training, I was pushing myself hard, and I was looking around me and I was like, no one in my current circle like does any of this. Like it was quite like almost isolating in a way. Like no one's getting after it in the same way. They might be like, do push pull legs at the gym and that's a brilliant week of training done. And again, that's when I saw like Paul's and Crocs and like what they were doing. And I thought, yeah, these are more my people because they're going above and beyond. But that, like you say, it doesn't just include training in that. It includes like the support and the mental health aspect of things. And I saw I saw an Instagram post. I was following the page for at least 12 months before like reaching out, being like, how do I get involved into this? And I saw one of the posts and I remember it so clearly. And they said that it's a group where you give more than you get. And you've got to be there willing to give. And as a result of you being open, supporting one another, giving whatever that means at the time, as a result, you'll get the same when it's needed. And I just think that's like such a good way of doing things because everyone's in the same mindset of if you give the support, you'll get it when you need it. Because there's going to be a time in life where everyone needs that support. Do you know what I mean? And you can't
Absolutely.
just you can't just ask for it but not give it. It's not how
Yeah,
it works.
absolutely. Everybody's time comes in that respect. We've all been there. Some of the more vintage guys of the group have possibly already hit those patches in their life that can come around again. I've certainly hit my own and feel like I've got a lot in my toolbox now to deal with those things, and I'm very happy to pass those on to other people as well. But yeah, these things hit you when you least expect it. But you're dead right. You've got to be willing to give if you want to take from the group as well, I think. You touched upon actually so just getting involved and coming along. What did that
Yeah.
look like for you? What was that route in? Did you contact somebody? Did you bump into somebody? What?
So I've through family and friends, I know Connor Brown quite well. Um, and I saw
Reservations.
yeah.
Had
Um,
to get that in for Connor.
yeah,
Shout out.
yeah. Connor, if you're listening. Um, and I think I might have just seen him do like from my very first time seeing the page. I can't remember exactly what it looked like, but I'd be like, all right, Connor's running with a group of lads. That looks like good crack. And then I
That
think
Connor doesn't run with us. He never comes out with us.
Wow.
He's on holiday.
yeah,
And
I can't remember exactly how long ago it was. And then I remember just following the page, seeing what everyone was up to. And then I was following it for a while and I thought it was the back end of last year, when because I tried getting to the Three Peaks, but I was injured. I had an IT band injury and just could not run. So I was a bit gutted that I missed that because that was going to be my like, right, this is my in. And then, you know, it, I've not really thought about it in this way, but it's almost like, right, okay, I've got to wait 6 months to have another go at getting into this group. So again, like I said, I've not really thought about it like that, but I think that might even go into like why there was so much nerves going into the mystery weekend because in a strange way, like it felt like there was a lot riding on it, and obviously not knowing what to do with it, or not knowing what the event was, and so on and so forth. Yeah, but that's how it looked. Saw someone that was inside of the group, followed the page, you know, sat on the fence, watched from the sidelines for a while, and then at one point, when enough was enough, I thought, right, you know what, I'm gonna get in touch and see what everything's about. Um,
Ironically, you've probably jumped in on the most extreme event we've done yet, I think. So, like, if you'd have rocked up to the Three Peaks, it looks like a lot because it's like winter conditions and you're going up on the mountains and what have you. But actually, that's a pretty gentle sort of bimble, and everybody's there in a group. There's lots of chat, and you've went like straight in at the deep end. So, hats off to you there.
but you know what? Like in one respect, I've went in on a harder event. I'm not going to say the others will be easier.
No, because Benji's on it to take
Yeah,
that
yeah,
as a
yeah.
challenge.
Wrong person to say that. But I'm pleased I went in on like a more challenging one because it's only made, walking away from the weekend feel even more rewarding. And there was points in I remember when we made when we made a beeline up High Spy, and I was just like, I can't do this for 24 hours. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, they let me nav, Dave.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. And I was just like, am I really going to be able to like hold my own here? And yeah, it was, to get through the weekend and leave, like it meant more to me than just, you've just done a fitness event kind of thing. Um, but
So,
yeah,
so
quality.
Josh, you're touching on what we all go through, that little voice in our head that says, "Yeah, I can't do this," or "I'm not."
Yeah.
Those guys are stronger or fitter than me. We've all got that voice that goes, "Oh fuck," especially when you're there and you're in it. So I'd be
Yeah.
interested to know, like, then what's the conversation? How do you turn it so that voice doesn't get bigger and bigger? How do you? What's your internal process of like, I'm going to commit no matter what. You know what I mean? What's that in a dialogue like?
Um, I think without without being like, "Ooh, look at me" or anything, like I've always found myself being like quite a headstrong person. I think you've got to be to do any kind of ultra endurance event. You've got to be headstrong because there's going to be a point in time where you're going to be in like an absolute hole and you've got to deal with that
Mm-hmm.
regardless. And the thing that gets me through it is just telling myself it's temporary. You know, that it is only temporary.
This too will
At the
pass.
end of hmm?
This too will pass.
Yeah, 100%. Like it, I was, what was it, 5 o'clock on Sunday or Saturday having a few pints. Like it will be over.
Hmm.
And when it absolutely sucks, I just tell myself it's not going to last forever.
Mm.
And
And that's a small thing to
that,
remind yourself of, but it's an important anchor. You know, you keep yourself anchored to there, and then that voice doesn't get bigger and bigger. So
yeah, 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 100%. I don't know. I don't have like, I don't have any affirmations or words of wisdom. It just be temporary. That's what gets
I
me
mean
through it, really.
that in itself is the wisdom, isn't it? You know, that is a powerful realization, and that can come with experience as well. Because when you do a few things, you've been, all
Mhm.
right, I've been in this level of exhaustion, or I've been this cold and wet, and you do know it has an end point, but that you
Yeah,
only get that with showing up. You know what I mean?
100%,
If
100%.
all your exercise and activity is in that controlled gym element, and you don't get exposed to that, and then that I think that's where you learn that voice is like, well, I've been here before, and there is something at the other side of it. It's not like you say, it's not going to go last forever. It has to move on at some point. But I think that comes with experience as well. Like putting
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
yourself in those positions.
I don't know, like I think it's circumstantial as well. Sometimes things pop into your head. You just got to get through it. Just like just goalpost it. You've got to get to this bit and to this bit and to this bit. It's how you break it down and it's how your head works.
Hmm.
But but really, that's like the one standout thing. I think everyone's got their drivers and their motivations, whether that be whether you're doing it for someone, whether you're doing it for a reason, whatever that is. But yeah, that internal voice is you've got to listen to it, but you've just got to use it at the end of the day to help you get through rather than give you a reason to stop. Because I think doing what I do in the background again, I know that your head's going to tell you to stop before your body does,
Yeah,
and that's just like fact, really. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Your head doesn't like what your body's doing, so it'll tell you to stop, but you can actually go further. Yeah, that's it, really.
But it's just data, isn't it? It's data from your body. I think it's the
Yeah,
way to put it, and it doesn't feel like that at the time when your head's saying you need to stop now. You're definitely going to die.
yeah.
But as Dave says, I think that element of experience does get you to actually this is going to be all right. I'll get through this. And so somebody gave me the advice of thinking, what is tomorrow me going to think of the decisions that I'm making right now? So if I decide to quit right now, how am I going to view that tomorrow? And there's an element of just being kind to yourself and thinking, actually, I want to be in a position tomorrow where I look back and think I did the right thing there.
100%. I fully agree. That's a framework I use with so many clients because typically in like a situation, you're going to be biased. If there's a chocolate bar in front of me, I'm going to be biased to wanting a chocolate bar, but that doesn't fit with my diet. Do you know what I mean? And instead, tomorrow you're probably going to think, actually, don't eat the chocolate bar if you're following a diet for your training or whatever it is. Same with if you're hiking up a mountain, you're probably going to be biased to wanting to stop. Do you know what I mean? If your legs are on fire, if your lungs are pumping, then yeah, you probably are going to want to stop, but that's not what you actually want. Do you know what I'm saying? And I just think it's like it is a good framework. I wasn't using that halfway up the mountain though.
Just to bring
No, no.
to bring Benji in on that. So Benji, you obviously had just come off the back of the double, which is then something that is going to last forever. You know what I mean? It is like that thing of like, oh, this isn't going to last forever, probably not going to be useful when you're doing something that is 48 hours long. So what are your internal reference points? Because or is it, or are you still chunking it into the smaller sections?
Yes, for me, I broke it down mile by mile, hill by hill. I
Mm,
didn't got 84 peaks to run, or I've got 132 miles to run. I've got one peak to run. I've got 6 miles to run. And similar to what Josh was saying, it's not going to last forever. Am I cold? Yeah. Am I hurting? Yeah. Do I want to stop? Yeah. But am I going to? No. I'm going to, no matter what, because I know it will come to an end at some point. And another sort of framework that I go off is, why do I do it? Because I can. There's people that can't do it. I'm lucky enough to be able to do it. Until my body no longer allows me to do the stuff that I enjoy, I'm going to keep doing it. And that's not going to change.
Yes, mate.
that's
Appreciate that a lot.
yeah, that's a powerful reframing. Yeah, it's because a lot of people in the world who just can't get out of wheelchairs or just chronically sick, and yeah, it's like like a blessing. And that, Benji, you've said that before. When I'm just out with me mates, it's on one level, it's like obviously uber heroic, and you know, um, you're at the edges and at the margins of endurance, but at the same time, you're just out with your mates as well, and it's such a privilege, and just to be out in nature and all of that good stuff as well. So yeah, easy to say, but that's a powerful reframe, isn't it? Just to be grateful to be out there, like.
So yeah, just I have the ability to do it. I'm going to do it, and I'm doing it with the people that I enjoy doing it with. Until my body no longer allows it, it's going to keep happening.
Yeah, I think that's class. It's that like, you don't have to do it, you can do it. Do you know what I mean? Like people are like, oh, I've got to work out today. It's like, well, you can work out today. I've got to train legs. You get to train legs. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's about realizing that, it's the simplest pleasures in life, isn't it, that you take for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Josh, you've probably been in the group long enough now to know there's like a wicked sense of humour. We like to sort of taunt and tease each other, and part of that was Leon putting out there. You had to comment, "Do you have the minerals?"
Yeah.
And I think that rattled a few people, because it was calling people out, wasn't it? Like, it was his sort of tongue-in-cheek way of like, "Do you have the balls to be with us?" And I think some people were rattled with it, but you obviously took that in the manner in which it was delivered, like, yeah, challenge, but humorous, and you're gonna have to put yourself out there, because it was the question. What did you take to mean by "Do you have the minerals"? What was your reading into that?
Mate, you'll not like my answer. It went straight over my head, to be
It is.
honest with you.
Fair one.
Probably
I,
the
I wasn't asked. I could have commented anything because at the end of the day, I wanted it more than whatever the word was going to be. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to be in Keswick, regardless of what I had to comment on that.
yeah. So you were locked in from like the earlier, like the 6 months before. You were already locked.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I can understand why people get rattled, but like, if you're gonna get rattled at having to do that, there's far more difficult things that weekend that you had to do. So if that's gonna play on you, I don't know. I don't know what to say to that, to be honest with you.
Well, there's a vulnerability. Like nobody would use that if you asked anybody who saw our Instagram page. Nobody would link vulnerability with that group. But
Hmm.
actually showing up for a weekend, a mystery weekend where you don't know what's involved, it means you have to be vulnerable, right? Because we're going to
100%.
expose your flaws, right? You could be king of the gym, whatever, king of Strava, and have all the little routes that you're good at, and that's nice and safe in it. But you go on somebody else's terms, and there's going to be a chink, horses for courses. Some people are strong at short sprint events, and some people are going to come into their element when the weight goes on, the load goes on, and stuff. But the flip side of that is like there's something where there's going to be a suffer fest for you where you're going to feel like weak, like the weakest member of the team, and that's all right. But it's just showing up for that takes a lot, and I think that's probably what we're all about, that vulnerability, because that's your authentic self. That's not you coming in with a bravado, right? Telling us how good you are. It's just you showing up going, well, let's see how good I am. You know what I mean? Like I'm here, and that's all I've got, my authentic self. And I think that's why there's no less barriers, you know, like you felt like you're with the group a long time. Um, you feel like you'd bedded in straight away. So I think that's a big part of it. Like you're just willing to show up as you were, like, you know what I mean? And then yeah,
Yeah, I think it's very easy to put on a front in day-to-day life, whether that, whether whoever that's with. It's very easy to put on a front. And I think when you go to an event like that was just over the weekend, you very quickly realize that even if you wanted to put on a front, that cannot be maintained.
mm,
Like the level of endurance, tasks that you're going to be doing, like very quickly you're going to realize that you've just got to show up as like your true self. And throughout all of the fizz over the weekend, it's especially right at the end. Like it sounds really silly, but everyone was giving it their absolute all on that last phase of the weekend. No one was asked about how good they were looking, how strong they were looking towards the end. Like people were crossing that finish line in absolute states. It wasn't pretty. Everyone's vulnerable. Everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's just here to get after it and support one another. No one's asked about anything really other than just looking after each other and making sure that everyone puts in that same level of work rate. And I think that's exactly what happened over the weekend. Everyone was supported. Everyone gave it their all.
Yeah, there was a big team element, wasn't there? There was nobody, I think has been touched upon there. Nobody was good at every element of
Mhm.
all three phases. Everybody had their weaknesses. Some people were stronger on the hills, some people were faster in the sprint and that side of things. Um, Equally, as you've said there wasn't anybody that was picked on to say, oh, you're not good enough here.
Yeah.
It was very clear everybody was putting the best self forward, the maximum effort, and I think fair play to Benji and Leon and Corn and everybody else supporting to encourage us in the right way to allow that to happen. Um, I think an important part of the debrief was that the weekend was not intended to break people. And
Mhm.
even the briefing at the start of it, the message was outlined, look, this is a race, but this is about team building. And I thought that element of the brief was really, really important because it went to shaping the whole weekend and the way that we approach things.
Yeah, I fully agree. And, hats off as well, because on that debrief, something that really like took me away was just how perfect the level of intensity was for the weekend. It was up there with like, you were borderline, this is too much, but it wasn't too much. Everyone was able to complete it. And to get it that precise, I don't know how it's done. Really, I just thought that was brilliant. Like it was, or at least for me, I thought it was the perfect amount of like there needs to be a lot of grit here, but I'm not a broken man after it.
I
And so,
think Benji was keen to push it further.
yeah.
But you're right in what you're saying there. So obviously the experience that me, Khan, and Leon have got, me and Khan more so with the military side of things, and knowing when you're doing, Dave will know this probably more than me as well. When you're doing things like battle PT or you're getting thrashed on a corridor session, you know where that line is, and you can go right up to that line, but you know not to go over it because that's when you start breaking people and injuries happen, and you just don't want to be there. But getting them to that line and keeping them on that line for a good period of time, and then it's like, right, time, we're stopping now. We've seen that you've managed to stay at that line. You've earned the the cut off. You're done.
yeah, it's easy to break someone. It's easy to uh, Yeah, it's much harder to take someone to that point. It just takes more experience, doesn't it? It just takes, and it takes more experience as a coach, but also like you have had to been put through that yourself, I think. And then your body knows what that is. You know what I mean? You recognize it in someone else because you've been there and you've been redlined for that amount of time, and just becomes intuitive, I think, as to what that is. I think, and that speaks to the depth of the squad, like the team, like just some very experienced blokes across multi domains, really. Yeah, and it certainly wasn't designed to break anyone's spirit. It was designed for people to come away on a high. So that is, hats off to the Khan, Leon, and Benji for getting that just right. Just based on
That
the feedback, it's like challenging right from the get-go, right to the end. You know what I mean? But also, it's not designed to make anyone feel small. You should be feeling 10 foot high when you walk away from that weekend, and certainly not injured. Be a travesty if we injured anyone. The blokes are the important thing about poles and Crocs. So we look after our blokes, whether you've been with us all the time in the world or whether you're fresh in through the door. It's important that we look after each other. Well, what was your best moment of the weekend, Josh?
best moment of the weekend,
Was it someone saying
being
finally
lined up and getting a handshake. Could have cried at that moment. Um,
index?
yeah, best moment of the weekend. You know what it was? It was I don't know if you'd call it the second leg of phase one when we had that like comeback and we just went hell for leather like that. I feel like that's kind of went down as like the part of the weekend that a lot of people have mentioned, and it was just getting through that door and seeing the other team went there was just brilliant. But it was even before that though. It was when we all knew as a team we were making more progress. It was when Vinny saw that they were still at the top of cat bells and we had a chance, and there was this spark. It was like, right, we're going to do this team. It wasn't, um, I don't know, that there was just an extra bit of something there. And I thought, after having done however many hours, like 6 hours with the, full Bergen and whatnot, it was nice to have that last little push and know that it was actually still in the tank as well. Realize you're actually capable of more. It's just a bit of a mental thing. But that for me was the best part. That second stretch. I thought it was class.
And Vinny, you were a team captain there, so
Yeah.
the challenge for you was obviously the fitness, phys, but also stepping into maybe a team leader position and making sure that your nav was on point and that side of it. So how did you feel that was challenge wise for you?
Um, actually nervous about that. So the whole turn up the event and what have you. Sorry, I've got more on that. Um, yeah, so I'm in the fortunate position where turning up that event, I wasn't a bag of nerves because I think when we originally started doing things however long ago, even when I wasn't expecting it to be any sort of a thrashing, I just have anxiety to turn up to things with the lads for all the reasons you've described, Josh. I'm not going to be fit enough. I'm not the fastest. I'm not the strongest. I'm going to be hanging out at the back. So I didn't have that this weekend, but the team leader element was a bit nerve-wracking. Nav's something that I'm trying to develop as well. So I've been speaking to a couple of the lads about it. Con said to me, look, the best way to deal with that is bin your GPX. Just take your map and compass out and work off that. This weekend's the first weekend that I've done that really, and I was determined to try and make that work. Now, I was fortunate in that I had Nuge on the team with experience of that, so I was able to lean on him as well. So that was really helpful, and that was comforting as well. I think if I'd have just been out there on my Todd with everybody looking at me, that probably would have been a lot more challenging. I think he was there to just be able to run things past. Um, in terms of the just the team leader element of it more broadly, rightly or wrongly, it helped having a couple of more lads on the team that were less experienced. Um, I think if I'd have been on a team full of guys that had been with Paws and Crocs for a long time, they were all fully experienced, all strong characters, it kind of sometimes makes it a little more difficult for you to feel like you can put yourself forward and be at the front. So rightly or wrongly, having the likes of yourself there, Josh and Sam as well, and feeling like I had something in terms of advice or anything else to offer, that actually helped me just get into a comfortable place with it. Otherwise, I was just really, really proud that when we formed a team WhatsApp group, I was put forward and voted to be the captain. That was really that meant a lot. I was quite emotional about that. Um, and I think the fact that we had the plan that we discussed for phase one and we followed that plan and then got in and it actually worked. Again, that just helped settle things in a bit because we're coming through that first half, Benji, and you guys were like, right, you're 30 minutes behind, you're 40 minutes behind. You're looking like, I'm sure somebody said to me at one point that said I'm one like an hour and a half behind. I was like, holy shit, like dropped the ball here. Like, yeah, that certainly helped as well. Uh, but more than anything, the guys put me forward for it, and that really meant a lot. So I was determined to try and make it work. And it seemed to go okay. It was really, really nice. Yeah,
Yeah, the team element seemed to be to make the weekend in a lot of ways. I think that level of healthy
absolutely.
competition. How did that look from your end, Benji? Obviously, seeing the two teams go
Yes.
against.
So the first sort of two phases, I was with the opposite team. So obviously Leon and Khan were with Vinny and Josh. I was with Tom and his team. And the team element between them were absolutely spot on. They worked well together. Everyone took it in turns to lead the nav. Everyone worked really well together. There was no point where really any of them were struggling. And I'll be honest, so my favourite bit of the whole weekend was the same as what Josh said, seeing these guys come in first, because obviously I was with Tom's team. We knew, well, I knew anyway, that Vinny's team would make up some time because the second half, the first half that my side did, is shorter and less elevation. But we passed them as we started to climb up to High Spy, and they still had a good 3 miles to get to the sort of midpoint. And I'm like, and I think it must have been me, Vinny, that was like, we're well ahead here. You must have heard me say that. But then we hit High Spy. Me and Felix left them. I waited a good 15 minutes to 20 minutes descending because the signal wasn't great. That's when I radioed through to Khan to say, right, me and Felix are coming back down. Khan replied and said, Vinny's team has only just stepped off from the car park. So I was like, fucking hell, they must be about an hour and a half, 2 hours behind here. There's no way they're coming in first. We get back down. We get a lift back into Keswick. We're waiting. Next thing we know, this team come flying through the door first. Me and Felix are just like, what the fuck have we just seen here? It was amazing to see, and it just the energy that the team had then, like seeing how happy he was over the moon, and
Mm.
the energy that these boys had was just amazing.
Mm, real cool.
Aye, how he's something special when he gets going. Like he's absolutely incredible. He's like he's the nicest guy, but he's also ultra competitive. And once he gets locked in, that's it. Like you can't stop him.
So we've obviously a few days back from it. Well, yeah. So how's it landed? Where you got maybe bring Josh back in? Like, where's it land with you now, Josh? How do you feel a few days out from the weekend? What do you feel like you've taken from it, or what you're
I
sat
think the
with.
first thing to say is like I'm absolutely buzzing this week from
Mm.
the weekend. I'm still like I still feel class for it. And I think it goes deeper than just being able to say that I've done a really difficult weekend of training in the lakes and whatnot, because there is an element of into this community of like-minded people now. The weekend was amazing. There's some really strong connections that have been formed, but also it's that like, and I've got to be careful what I say here, but the excitement about the next one and how that I know that I'll go into the next one feeling different in the sense that the faces will be familiar, even just that understanding of we're not here to break you, we're here to just push you to that limit. Like just really being able to go into that and knowing the kind of thing that is going to be thrown our way and to some degree. And then, well, there's a lot of things really. I don't think I give enough credit for how much those nerves were there on Friday night. And just to know that it's almost like I've got now a second chance in a way. I get to do it all again, but without this same level of nerves. Yes, there's going to be what we got to do, what's coming up, but it's going to be a different experience. And then to take it a step further, like after giving the feedback from um, the weekend on the debrief, like Benji, like the video of packing the Bergen, that might have felt like child's play to you, but that was so helpful for me. Like, because I did the first leg of that weekend in all of the way, which was bottom of the bag. My lower back was absolutely ruined. And even just little things like that, knowing that I probably do need a better bag because I just took like the rucksack in my cupboard and going into it with just a better understanding of just having experience really. It's had me feeling really good this week, feeling like I've accomplished something, but also it does, have me excited as to what's to come. Don't know if excited's the right word, but something along that line, I would imagine.
Yeah, big
Yeah,
scale.
absolutely smashed it. Genuinely just showed up and put your best effort in, and like that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Um, it was grand. Everybody on the team, everybody that turned up, not just our team, everybody that turned up were people that had done less things with the poles and Crocs, but everybody turned up and just put themselves forward with it, and it was just really heartwarming to see. I don't know if that's yeah, it's probably the right way to describe it. The fact that people put themselves out there and were willing to fail. Um, but yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful to be part of amongst people that are willing to do that and open themselves up to failure like that.
I
Yeah,
think it comes back down to that like vulnerability aspect of
yeah,
things and knowing that, you can be vulnerable. It's a safe space to be vulnerable. If you've got, a twinge or a niggle, like you can raise it with the team will look after you. You're not just left. Yes, yes, there's a lot of suffering throughout the weekend, but you're not just going to be left to suffer, if you know what I mean. Like I feel like there's a strong difference. And that was what was really apparent to me is that yes, it's going to be difficult, it's going to take a lot of grit, but you're not just going to be left in a corner to crack on and it will actually suck. And do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we discussed that a lot, didn't we? The whole ethos of um, you know, you need to push yourself here, but at any point, if you've got something genuinely going wrong, physically or mentally, shout up because you get into a place where you're in a hole you can't get out of for whatever reason is not helpful. It's not conducive to the rest of the team getting around the event. We want everybody to get round in one piece, and we spoke about that a lot. I think that must have been a conversation that happened on both teams, I think, Benji. Is that kind of something that the other team discussed as well? Or
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
I think that was really important, an important message from the weekend, and it goes to the core of what the group's about more widely in terms of mental health as well. There's a there's a large pressure on men tend to have that kind of perception that they should just crack on and keep things to themselves, and it's ultimately um, Dave, you gave me this analogy years ago now, I think, about bridges, large bridges that span large bodies of water. You tend to find that they're not rigid, actually. They tend to be suspended from cables and the like, so they're able to flex and move under tension, whereas men tend to have this perception that you need to be hard and unwavering at all times, and that's when you crack, isn't it?
I love
I
it.
bet you can't even remember giving us that, but
Yeah,
it's always stuck with me. It's
I
always
love
stuck
it.
with me.
I love it. As an engineer, you've latched onto, of all the things I've said, you've went bridges, brilliant.
Oh, I 100% structural integrity. That's
Structural
loved.
integrity. Yeah, yeah. Share the load, isn't it? Like that tension shared through the load of the whole span of the bridge, and that's what the team is, isn't it? And if it's far better to say, look, I'm nervous about getting up this next hill. You know, you're far better off saying that than making up something like, "Oh, I've got shin splints," you know, because you will be called out on your bullshit as well. So, but you know, if you're genuinely like, "I'm scared shitless about this next section. I'm scared of heights," whatever it is, if that's an authentic feeling, that'll be that'll be um, that'll be accounted for and taken into the picture of how the group's moving as a whole. But if you start Billy bullshitting and then it just means there's a mismatch, you know, and that's normally what blokes default to is making something up. And like the lads in this group have seen it all before and have got, you know, worn all the t-shirts, and you know, they'll just call you out straight away if people start coming in with their Mickey Mouse stories. And there was a bit of that, probably a lot of that in the lead up to this mystery weekend, where Leon was getting a lot of messages sort of to that end. Um, and yeah, that's probably all I'll say on that. But in terms of authentic injuries, we need to know what's going on with your body because we can't see inside your body. So definitely come forward with legit things that are happening. We don't want to. Yeah, we don't need to be hiding things, but yeah, there is a balance to be had about just, well, are you having a mental wobble or is it something actually physical going on in your body?
I think something that works so incredibly well from what I've seen over the weekend is that the support was second to none, you know, from briefings, from like the processes if there was an issue, from having team captains, from moving at the slowest member of the team, like across the board, the weekend, the support you could not fault, and I just want that to be said to begin with. But then when it comes to like mental health, I'm a big believer in like you need to do difficult shit. If you're just going to be, you know, sat on the sofa, watching TV, playing on your Xbox, if you've just got the easiest of easy lives, then the tiniest inconvenience is going to, you know, hit like a ton of bricks. Whereas if you expose yourself to really difficult things, then that can translate into, you know, day-to-day life. Life gets less shit the more hard things that you do. And the beautiful thing about what's going on here is you can do that really difficult stuff, but there's also the support aspect there as well if you do have a wobble. And there's not much like that. You can sign up to, you know, an ultra marathon, a marathon, wherever your fitness levels are at, but it's just you and a pair of trainers. There's no real support there. Whereas something like this, you can do that difficult stuff, but you can also get the aid when you need it. And I think from the outside looking in at like a mental health perspective, I think that's massive because, like I say, we're going a little bit off topic, but not enough people are doing hard things. And I think that's a massive reason as to why mental health is on the decline to some degree.
Yeah, I think
Totally.
Yeah, I think the group would echo that. That's definitely the sentiment of the group. We definitely share that ethos. Um, yeah. What was I going to say? So if someone was hesitating, obviously you showed up, so not everybody did. What somebody might show up at the next one who's just hesitated on this one. What's going to get that person over the line and allow them to show up, or what could you tell them that would maybe just give them that bit of confidence that they need to show up for the next one?
I think it's no different to grinding out the last couple reps on a squat or a deadlift. It's no different to the last kilometer of sending a 5K. There's going to be a voice in your head that wants you to stop, that wants you to just tap out. And, all of a sudden, if you stop, if you don't go to the event, whatever that is, it all of a sudden becomes easier again. You just need to push through that next little bit of challenge. The nerves are going to be there. Something that actually, I said this to my partner, because I was getting ready to go. I think I packed my bag probably 5 times on Friday before setting off. And um, I said, I'm really nervous about this. But then I said, but that just means I'm a normal person, doesn't it? Of course I'm going to be nervous. Like that, those nerves, whether it's like, I hear a lot at the minute about like anxiety and worry and things, and it's like, yeah, you're a human being, you're a healthy human being. You're designed to worry and be anxious and be nervous. And I just reminded myself that like this is just a totally normal feeling to feel based off of what I'm about to do. So if you are on the fence thinking about it, the nerves are going to be there. It'd be strange if they aren't. And like I say, it's no different to everyone's been in that hole with, heavy deadlift or a heavy squat or a hard run. You've just got to grind through that next bit of challenge. You've just got to get through it. And if you show up, you will be thankful you do. That's what I would say.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt
Spot
about
on.
it. There will be nerves. There will be that is part and parcel, in fact, and you will be exposed, but part of that exposure is then you then ask for then you realize you can't do it all yourself, right? You have to then look at the team around you and think who's got me back here.
Mhm.
Whereas, at home it's like guys were just very reluctant to ask for help. Um, I'm a yoga teacher now, and it's just obviously 99% women who come in. Any therapeutic sort of modality, it's top heavy with women, one or two guys, but blokes just won't ask for help. They see it as some sort of character flaw, when in reality, when we take it to the limit, it needs to be a tribal thing, and we're like looking around to see who has our back, and then beyond even asking for help, the blokes are stepping in with the help. They're helping you get your dry kit on and your wet kit off. If you're the one who's sort of going being a bit exposed, and then the next day it'll be somebody else who needs the help, and then it becomes a much more normal thing to ask for help and to be given support as well. And it's like, oh, this fucking actually feels good and normal. But in our fragmented society, it's like we're all in our little bubbles. And no, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, how you know what I mean? It's all
Mhm.
front, and it's just no front on weekends like this. Um, anyone else want to pipe up with anything? I think we've gone through a bit there.
I suppose it's probably a bit much to start questioning you, Benji, about can we cover any sort of takeaways from it, which is probably going to inform the next weekend, I think, which is why I say we might not be able to ask you about it.
I
But
don't know what's going to
um,
ask Benji, but I've seen that packing the Bergen post, and I was just like, oh, champion, this is like
cracking.
so useful. It's the stuff that maybe obviously at your level that you forget how much you actually know. So your basic is like Josh is like, okay, now that's good advice. Pack the weight a little bit higher on my shoulder. And we've all done that novice thing of like just shoving the heaviest thing at the bottom and then just having it rattling around and banging off your spine and stuff. So there is an element of like you just have to go through the stupid mistakes. But again, that means you've shown up. But that those videos are going to be gold, Benji, stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. All them little things, obviously, I've learned from my experiences, and I'm sure the other lads have. Like, we've all been there. For example, using the Bergen as an example, we've all fucking packed it wrong. Put weight on one side or weight at the bottom, and you're 2 miles into a 10 mile tab, and you're in absolute clip hanging out your arse, all because it's not packed right. Not that you can't do it, just that the weight distribution is completely wrong, and it just completely messes with you. Whereas obviously you learn from that, right? You need to pack it this way, you need to put this here, you need to put that there. All them little things combined make the whole experience not more enjoyable, but more comfortable in terms of being able to move better. And
Yeah.
then, so again, I touched on it a little bit, but and it might come into play, it might not, because obviously the mystery weekend that we're going to be doing, yes, there's military elements in it, but it isn't a military exercise. So, like when I mentioned the wet and dry kit, is that going to really happen? Probably not, because the blokes will just put on fresh kit the next day anyway. But when we've done that in the past, it's just making sure you take enough kit to cover your backside. You don't want to turn up on an exercise short and end up getting into bed with your wet kit, because then that just messes everything up. Then your bedding's wet. Then the next night you're freezing your fucking bollocks off. So little things like that. It's all learning, all experience.
Yeah, it's good.
I'll be taking notes. I'll be taking notes for certain. You can always learn something, can't you, for definite?
That was another thing that I really, again, it blew me away from the weekend, is that we did the debrief, support were there so we could feedback our feedback, but then we got feedback from the weekend as well, and as to how we showed up as a team. And I thought that was invaluable. I've took away some mega lessons from how we've performed over that weekend, going into the next one, whether it's how to pack your bag, whether it's, if you're going to be slightly heavier set person, poles on the incline, fantastic shout. Why are they just in your bag, not in your hands, kind of thing? Or, actually moving at the pace of the slowest person, not waiting for them to catch up, then setting off again. Like these things, like that, in a way you don't think about because you are just so focused on gritting your teeth and cracking on, but it's actually so helpful. And I fully agree. Like you do, in a way, I suppose, have to earn your stripes and make the mistake to not make it the following time. But again, the reason it blew me away is because find me another group where, a set of lads are going to meet up and just watch you just to make sure that you're able to get through the course and then be able to give you feedback on it. Like even just having the support, knowing that if something goes sideways, someone's there, that's enough. But to take it a step further, I think it's testament to how much everyone, has each other's back.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
a testament to Leon and how much he actually cares about the group, and well,
Yeah.
group as a collective of individuals. So how much he cares about the individuals, and he's renowned for messaging people. If you've gone quieter for a while on the WhatsApp and stuff, he'll be the one to reach out first, not more than likely, and just look, anything going on and where you're at. Haven't heard from you for a bit, Josh, or stuff. He's like everyone in that group is never too far from his mind. It is a genuine level of care. Even though he's the one who's designing the most heinous weekends, he's
Aye.
got the flip side
I
where he's like. Like no nonsense, no shortcuts. But the level of that's balanced out by the level of care he has for everyone. It's an unusual blend, but he pulls it off.
Yeah.
there's there's an element of that though, which I think goes back to pre-poles and Crocs, and it's always something which Leon's spoken about, and I'm sure he spoke at length with you about it, Dave, about how do you get guys to open up, actually to talk about problems, not physical stuff, but what's going on with them. And the theory is that when you get guys out on the hill and get them to the point where they're hanging out, that's when they start to share stuff. But they just start talking uncontrollably, but things start to come out that you've been shielding up until that point. And yeah, would not actually, ironically, perhaps not so much this weekend during the event. Certainly at debriefing when we're having a few beers afterwards, guys got to talking about stuff. But I think the event was pretty full on. But for the most part, any other time the group gets together and we're out in the hills, whether that's walking, running, anything, we do tend to share an awful lot in those settings. It's almost a bit like how you engage with children when they're in the middle of playing and you get down with them and you join in with what they're doing and they just start to open up and share stuff.
Yeah, it's like a walking, talking therapy, and that's it's not something we prescribe, but it's organic and it just arises, doesn't it, when blokes feel ready to talk. And it just makes everyone feel like, oh, everyone's got their shit. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, because we're all looking at each other going, fucking, he's squared away. Fucking, he's doing awesome. He's got an amazing job. He's super fit. He's strong. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, it's like we're always projecting everyone else up on these pedestals. And then we get to know each other. And yes, he is that awesome bloke and he is fucking, his skills are squared away and he is a fucking beast of the gym. But also, he's got his issues like we all have, like we're all human, you know. It just brings that human level in. Um, yeah, and that
That's
comes.
probably my, sorry, Dave.
I just go, yeah, it just comes with that being prepared to struggle together, that adversity thing, doesn't it? Brings down all the shields.
I think that's probably a message for anybody looking to get involved, isn't it? Really, we're just people. Um, I like doing all it. So I like doing all of this stuff. I'm, you know, consistently. I'm never the fastest or strongest, but I say to my kids, if you want to put a bit of work in, you can do what you want to do. And I like turning up and seeing all the other guys cracking on, doing what they're doing and being super fit and super strong because it just shows you where you can get with hard work. But we are all just people, me certainly not least of all.
I think it's true. Everyone does have their shit, and I think it's very easy to forget that everyone has their shit. And I think in the world we're in at the minute, it's very easy to use this shit we've got to deal with as reason to not do the work. But then you find yourself falling down the hole of, well, if you stop doing the work, you're going to have more shit to deal with. You know what I mean? It's only going to get worse, and you can see it as a you see it as something to hold you back or push you forward. Uh, really, if you've got shit to deal with, then actually coming into a group like this, being able to talk to other people, share it, and you're actually starting to be quite proactive with things. And I'd encourage anyone that if they did have shit to deal with, a group like this is exactly where you need to be. What you don't need to be doing is trying to ignore the world that's coming crashing down around you and just pretend that it's all okay. Because I think that it just makes things worse. And to go on from that, I think a lot of people can compare, like you say, Dave, like, oh, look at him, he's super fit, he's got it all going well. And they compare against their shit to what's going well for them. They actually don't realize they have X, Y, and Z that's going well for them. They're just taking it for granted, like what Benji said about you get to move. And it's just about perspective. And I think not until do you meet up with other people, go do the mystery weekends, go for the Christmas event. I don't know what the events are. Not until you do those get-togethers do you realize actually you are all in the same boat, and being together with other people just like you is a much safer place to be physically and mentally than out on your own.
100%.
Absolutely.
I'll go around the room just to sort of finish up, like just one, because we do like to big each other up and we like to really notice and celebrate each other. So, what, like one maybe standout moment that you saw someone that impressed you? in whatever moment that was. So I'll give you a bit of thinking time for that. And while you're thinking about that, just Josh, what's the next phase for you in terms of your training and whatever's going on for you? And looking at the next weekend.
What's on in terms of training beyond the next mystery weekend?
You've done this mystery weekend. It's obviously giving you insight of like where your fitness is at. So what you're going to need to double down on, where
Mm.
what weaknesses are you going to maybe have to address, what's working well for you. Just a general outline of how you think the next maybe 6 months of your fitness, where the focus is going to be, or
Yep.
have you got events lined up outside of pros and Crocs or anything like that?
So no events as it stands. I tried getting a ticket to I don't know if you've heard Castle at Castle. It's like 100 miler with rat race. I did the wall last year. That was my first ultra marathon. 70 miles only makes sense to try 100. Um, then that's just like on the horizon. Again, we've all got shit to deal with. That would have been this year, but me and my partner had a really choppy start to this year, so that's not happened this year. But shit happens. But again, probably part of the reason why this means so much to me. But in terms of back to the drawing board for the next 6 months, it's going to be lots of hill work, and
Loaded stuff,
more.
loaded carries.
You what?
Some loaded carry work. How did you get on with carrying the load?
Yeah, so I was just about to say hill work, and then that would be the second part. Part of me thinks that I just need to repack the bag I've got and try and distribute the weight a bit better, and then maybe it might feel a little bit easier. Who knows? But that was something carrying the weight I was massively underprepared for. Like massively, I did not anticipate anywhere near enough as to how long that would be on our back for. And even if we don't have to put additional weight in the bag, there's an element of camping, so we're going to have more equipment anyways. Um, so it's still going to have to be somewhat used to that. So hills, yeah, carrying like a load. Then outside of that, I feel like from just an overall fitness standpoint, I didn't do too badly. Had those things um, been a lot stronger than they were, I think I would have been able to bring a much better package. But one of my jobs this weekend is just to go back to the drawing board and write the program and see what that looks like. But those are my two things. And buy a set of poles.
I love that you've called it camping.
Oh,
Doing a bit of camping on this next one, Benji.
big Cameron.
Nice camping.
Nice.
Wait, it's a tent, isn't it? That's camping to me.
Yeah. I mean that's something you could do, get yourself outside for a night and just see how you get on in your own time. That'll take the edge off going in. That would be probably something I'd do if I was going on if the next one, if I knew there was some outdoor overnight time, just about like looking after yourself outside because it's obviously different from having hot and cold running water at your fingertips and all of that stuff. And just how you organize your pack becomes a little clearer the more time you spend outside with your pack and stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
don't be frightened to like lean on the guys and ask about Leon, especially about like how you should frame your loaded carry progressions and stuff because you don't want to be doing too much too soon.
Yeah,
But
he's your man for that, mate.
Yeah. Class. I appreciate that. I do.
I think we'll probably do something in terms of like an overnight or two if folks if that could be brand new for some people just going and keeping outside and so I think that's probably something we could do where just go out and do something, stop out overnight, like head out somewhere and then head back in the morning or something like that. Because um, that's actually quite a big thing, isn't it? If you've not done it before,
Yeah,
it's scary.
I've not thought about that. That would have just been again another part that's just straight over the head until the time comes. So
Just all in,
yeah,
just turn up and do it.
yeah. No, I think that's a good idea. I do think that's a good idea.
Yeah, we would definitely do something around that. That's a good shout.
Yeah. I mean, you got the right attitude, Josh. You're willing to like try it and then learn from it. You know what I mean? So that's there's no right or wrong way of going about it. But if you fancied a night out wild camping, and then it would obviously just give you more of an idea, wouldn't it? And then just the more idea we have, and then the better settled we are, and the more we can look after the people around us. Then you're not the one in a flat
Definitely.
Spain. You're the one who's sort of helping other people because you're one weekend in down the line, aren't you, as well? So that'll be that. All right, you guys got an inspiring person or moment of the weekend? Just
I have two. So I've got one from each team. Obviously, I spent the majority of the time with the other team. So for me, Tom Dunbar, like that lad could have had 50, 60 kilo on his back. He was just shifting over them hills with that back on. When we did the second part of the first phase, where it was 2 Bergens for the team, it was like, just give me the Bergen. I'll do the whole climb up to High Spy. And the whole, they're like, no, mate, come on, we've got to split it out evenly. But he was willing to do that. And then the second one was Sam from your team. Now, I didn't know this until I heard the conversation, but I think he's got aspirations to another one down the bootneck line. He wants to be a bootneck. And Khan had a little word with him and just said, this next phase, you're going to struggle, but I want you to put 100% in. And he did exactly that. He put every bit of effort he had in every sort of phase that it was his turn. So seeing him do that was really good.
amazing. Vinny?
Oh, you've stolen one of mine there, Tom. That's second or maybe third time I think I've met him, possibly. And just him as a person, his general demeanor, the way he conducted himself, the way he led from the front. It was just a privilege to like be working alongside him, albeit on the other team. But he's just a fantastic guy, isn't he? And he just did everything right in terms of the way he pushed his team. Absolutely fantastic. So I pinched one of mine there, and Josh, like you are a topic of conversation before the weekend, throughout the weekend, and after the weekend. The way, as we've said it, you just turned up with this group of guys that you didn't know. You've got that whole online persona where there's a lot of stuff on Instagram around mental health, but you could easily just put that to one side and focus on all of the mad stuff that people appear to be doing. You came along anyways, and you just jumped in with both feet, gave it everything. For definite, that it was talked about a lot, and massive hats off to you. And I think it's just an awesome example to anybody looking in on the group that you can just turn up and do it. And as long as you're willing to put the effort in, um, yeah, there's probably a level of effort before the event in terms of turning up with some sort of fitness. But you've done all that. You did all that work leading up to the event. I saw your stuff online where you were out with a backpack on, carrying some weight. You've just done everything right there in terms of just putting yourself out there. So yeah, absolutely stand out for me.
Mate, I appreciate it. Thank you. I do.
Welcome to the group.
Totally unscripted, that, Josh. You get high praise indeed. Josh, do you have obviously you are sort of maybe had your head down in your arse up most of the time, but did you notice anybody just who sort of you thought was a bit of an inspiration to you?
I've got to say Sam again, and from the first mile in, it was imperfect conditions. His bag gave him a whole load of shit. It was, he looked like a school kid in year 8, with the way he had that bag. It was hanging below his arse, and he was having a nightmare with it, and he just cracked on. And then the thing that really stands out to me with Sam is when we did the Benji, what was the second phase up to the
Flattery.
yeah, you know, that race was intense, and that wasn't like a low intensity kind of thing. And he gave everything that he had to that. He really did. He was right at the front with me, and we were both getting after it, but you could just see how much effort he was putting in. There wasn't 1% more that he could have gave going up there, and like he just threw himself into it. And I think it's really impressive. And then for him to go and do all of the fizz at the end, knowing that Khan's going to give him an absolute beasting, like, yeah, really good kid.
I did say I'm not sure. I'm not sure I could have grizzed that out with his backpack on that first phase, mind. He just what he grizzed through with that backpack, he was suffering. The waist belt snapped. He had the shoulder straps were coming loose, so he pulled
Yeah,
them as tight as he could, and he just knotted them across his chest, and he was in agony with it. He was all chafed, and he just got on with it and got through it. No complaining. Aye, it was incredible to be fair.
it was less than ideal circumstances, and he just cracked on. And I think that's, hats off to that.
I've got one little final shout out, and I think everyone forgot about him until the day. So originally, when Leon put the post out for minerals, and we had all them people who completely rapped, Ewan commented saying minerals, and then no one heard from him for 6 months, and he literally just walked into the YHA, and everyone was like, "Fucking hell, who's this?" And just for him to come, and he absolutely bossed it as well. He's a good lad.
Oh,
He's
I
a
didn't
beast,
realize
isn't he?
that.
When we won that last phase, and he picked me to go head to head with him, and it was the kettlebell race, and he picked that kettlebell up, and he went, and I just was like, "Oh my God!" The speed on him, he's just an absolute monster and a very good guy as well.
I didn't realize that that was his first time, but he passed anything by me because it was my first time.
Yeah,
Uh,
because we had a team, obviously, with the amount of people who dropped out, we had a team of 12. And then I won't say his name, but he dropped out on the day, absolutely wrapped. We know what we were talking about. So it was a team of 5 and 6, and that's how it was going to be. And then on the night, obviously, I turned up late to the brief because I come straight from work. I was counting heads and it were like 6 and 6, and I'm trying to figure out where's this extra body come from. And then Leon was like, "Oh, Ewan's turned up." He messaged in the group 6 months ago, went completely dark, and just rocked up. That's that.
Class.
That's fucking brilliant.
yeah.
Just
Yeah,
quietly got on with it in the background.
yeah, absolutely.
And it's not obviously it's not like we need the numbers. We're not trying to grow. It's growing organically, but obviously what we do need is the depth of the lads. The depth of what they're willing to put in, what they're willing to bring to the group. Because everyone, we all get something from that, don't we? What do you call it? Like,
And on that, it, me, Leon, Khan have said it actually worked out better that people didn't turn up and the numbers were lower. I think if all of the people that said we're going to come would have come, the event was different. We had to adapt it on the day, but it wouldn't have worked as well as it did. And that's why moving forward, we are going to keep the numbers short. We are going to accept another 6 to 8 people, I think it is. But we don't need any more than that because we've seen from the weekend just gone at the core. We know what we want and where we want to take it.
on that, Benji, has the date been picked for the next one?
Yes, Leon has a group. It's October, isn't it?
It's November, I think. November.
14th to the 16th of November, I want to say.
Yeah, 14th to 16th of November. That's the one.
I don't know how many days or weeks of fizz that is, but it's plenty of time, isn't it, to get a baseline in. So if you're watching this, then we'll see you at the next one. All right,
Nice.
appreciate your time, Josh,
No.
Benji, Vinny. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Have a good night, boys.
Good evening.
Thanks, James.
See you in a bit.
Take care, guys. Bye bye.